Atheist Nomads episode 294, finally legal in New Zealand.
The podcast you're about to listen to includes cursing and talking about hoo-haws. Please be advised.
Welcome to another episode of Atheist Nomads. I am Dustin. Joining me is Lauren.
Otherwise known as the hoo-ha lady.
And we have Aaron.
Hello.
And we are joined by
The
Beth.
other hoo-ha lady.
Hi.
We have 3 hoo-has.
Yeah, well, 4.
Well, 3.5. Not to say that Kylie doesn't have a hoo-ha or that she only has half of a hoo-ha. She's just tiny.
Yeah,
tiny. She has a cute fanny. What can I say?
Let's talk about her toes.
Yeah, her toes are adorable.
Oh my God, her toes are so cute. Ask a mom to talk about her baby's toes, and you've got half hour of people talking about corn. Because they look like little niblets, and you want to eat them.
I do want to e't them.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're so cute.
All right, so
hungry.
Beth is a comedian here locally that Aaron has tried to get on now twice. And it's her first time on a podcast, so Beth will try to go easy on you.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it. I'm talking into a microphone. I got headphones on, and there's a baby here.
It's going to be great.
And she's got a LaCroix and a PBR.
A La Croix and a PBR.
And Kylie's in a particularly good mood today, despite the fact that she has like all of the rest of her teeth coming in right now.
Maybe that's why she's chewing on this thing right now. Yep, definitely.
Like the incisors and first molars are supposed to come in gradually over the next like 6 months.
But
Nope, they're all right now.
Right.
Yeah, they're all budding.
She's terrifyingly adorable.
It really is.
Yeah.
Hey, you lady.
He's like a baseball player that points out into the stands before he hits the home run.
This one goes out
This
to
is for you, little kid with cancer.
Oh, so great.
All right, let's go ahead and move into dusting off the degree. And okay, this is kind of one where I didn't really have any good ideas, so I decided let's talk about terms. Because they're important to actually know the
You mean
terms.
vocabulary?
Vocabulary, yes. It's important because these are terms that
Not
get
like
thrown.
term of time.
Yes, they get thrown around all the time.
Like a congressperson
Vocabulary, yes.
or president. Something that will come to an end.
Vocabulary that gets thrown around all the time, often misused. Sometimes it can be misused intentionally, like almost weaponized. But all too often, it ends up being misused in a way that just makes atheists on the internet look like ignorant assholes.
Oh, and we don't want that.
So be careful with your terminology. Like for a good example, don't assume that all Christians believe all the things that are included in Catholic dogma, because they don't.
Do not drop the term Christian mythology. You will get ostracized.
Yes.
Jesus is used interpretively a lot.
Uh-huh.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
That's a term. We could break that down.
There we go.
So, okay, but let's go ahead and start off with one of the big ones, religion. Religion as a term just refers to a set of beliefs. It often gets misused to apply to atheism, humanism. It doesn't apply because it's not beliefs relevant to a higher power, which is part of the definition behind religion. It is, however, very nice that courts are starting to view humanism as being at least equivalent to a religion for protections in government services like prisons. So that is a step in the right direction, but humanism is not a religion.
No.
And we shouldn't try to say that it is.
It's a belief?
It's an ethical framework.
Okay. All right.
Philosophical tradition would be another way of
legend.
So basically,
Yes.
So one way you could look at it is humanism is a philosophical tradition.
Okay.
If you add magical thinking to it, it's a religion. There is Christian humanism. That is a religion. But it is religion, but it is not necessarily a religion because humanism started out as a Christian thing. A denomination specifically refers to a small-ish Protestant branch of Christianity. So Southern Baptist is a denomination. United Methodist is a denomination. Seventh-day Adventist is a denomination. Don't call the Roman Catholic Church a denomination. It's not.
What about the Mexican Catholics?
They're just Roman Catholic.
So why do they even define it as Roman Catholic if there's no other Catholic?
Because the Eastern Orthodox churches are also Catholic.
Yeah, I was going to say there is.
But aren't they Catholic denominations?
No. No, they aren't. They're considered Catholic, Protestant, and Orthodox are considered branches of Christianity.
Branches.
And if you are a branch, you're not a denomination. Denomination, yeah, again, specifically refers to Protestant groups, but the Roman Catholic Church considers itself to be the Orthodox Catholic Church, Catholic meaning universal, Orthodox meaning correct doctrine. Eastern Orthodoxy also consider themselves to be Orthodox Catholic churches. Sect is a term that's S-E-C-T, sect.
Sect.
It refers to any splitting of religions, so a different group within a religion. So you'll hear about Jewish sects, usually referring to the different branches of Judaism. When somebody refers to a Christian sect, it's usually a vastly different group that's not one of the major branches, and it's not also a denomination.
Non-denominational, you mean?
No.
Damn it.
Non-denominational is actually, each church is its own denomination. They are, it's just marketing.
They're self-denomination.
Sect would pretty accurately describe like Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, and can be used to describe
Scientologists?
cults.
Oh.
Scientology is its own religion.
Damn it. God, I'm so confused.
Yeah, not Christian at all.
Oh, in the chat, like section? Yes.
Good job, Jimmy.
So then cult is, in the most academic sense, just refers to anything religious. Cultic practices just refer to any religious practices. A cultic object just refers to any religious object. But cult in common usage refers to a Christian, generally Christian sect with a charismatic leader that causes their members to be isolated out from the rest of society.
I can see that with Jonestown.
Yeah, that's the definition.
But then what about that cult? Wouldn't you say there was a cult, that Oregon one?
Yeah, that was a cult.
But that wasn't Christian, though.
Generally Christian.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily Christian, generally Christian. Like there are New Age cults as well. And,
okay.
Aliens.
Does America count?
Pretty much.
As a general rule of thumb.
That's just called nationalism, and it's, yeah.
As a general rule of thumb, once a cult survives the death of its charismatic leader, it often then becomes either a sect or denomination.
So we're talking Mormonism here, huh?
So Mormonism became
wink.
Moved from cult to sect. Adventism moved from cult to denomination.
Okay.
And Scientology moved from cult to cult.
Yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard.
And that's one of the things that can happen with it is, and a big part of it is just how different is it? Scientology is so different that it gets viewed as a cult. No, it's just a different religion. It has a lot of things that it shares in common with groups that are identified as cults and could easily be classified as one.
Every time you talk about cults, all I can think of is every religion is a cult.
To varying degrees.
Yeah.
But in terms of common usage of it, it has a very specific meaning.
Yeah. So my mom has a really cool way of getting me to go to UU now. And I will only go if I get lunch afterwards.
Yeah.
She has to. So the next time she does want me to go, and she's like, I guess we can go to Good Burger, this like really good burger place that's popping up downtown. Yeah. I was like, hell yeah, okay.
That's how my family used to get us to go to Home Depot.
The hot dogs?
McDonald's afterwards.
Oh, no. We went for the hot dogs that they used to serve at Home Depot with the grilled onions and the mustard. And oh my God, it was so good.
I just remember Home Depots in Virginia had really good like Italian cheesesteaky things outside, and those were delicious.
Regional.
I may be a little hungry right now.
They know working people are hungry.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
We're working people who
Well, if you go to Home Depot, you're buying stuff to...
Oh, I thought she was saying that
Probably.
because I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm not hungry. No, I am starving.
What?
I am starving.
First of all, I said people were hungry. Second of all, talk about Home Depot over here.
Okay, so this actually does segue
gone off the
nicely.
rails.
The whole idea that stay-at-home moms don't work is a myth
Well,
because they are working hard.
yeah, I think that's been proven time and time again.
Just for the
I don't
record,
think anybody in this
for the record, I do believe stay-at-home moms go to Home Depot. I do.
And they do
Also
eat there. No, we can spend hours at Home Depot.
Also, single ladies don't like Home Depot, or just
Oh, we
just
should
me.
go to Home
That's a
Depot
myth.
sometime together.
Dude, just check out the lighting area.
We'll go hang out in
so zen.
Make some friends and plants.
and then go.
yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do
Oh,
it.
their plant section is awesome this time
Can
of
we also
year.
get a scooter and scooter through them?
Oh, now you want a scooter.
Yesterday, I was in a weird mood, and it was cold.
It was cold yesterday.
Do not scooter in the cold because that
No.
wind and then plus the
Yes,
yeah.
it's-
No,
it
instead
looks
we had a very awkward conversation. A very
Kylie's
awkward
turning to
conversation with a guy who dated my roommate, and then I told my roommate,
He was so weird. Oh, you did? What'd she say?
and she was like, "Huh, wonder why he's doing that now."
I know, right? He was like, I used to just manage
Yeah.
data for big companies, and
For,
now
like,
I bartend at
Yeah,
I'm not going to say the place and the thing.
Okay, so a myth is
and this is usually what happens.
Segue.
And then Dustin,
Which is
brings-
also a
leads us
fun
back
way
in.
to putz around town.
with a helmet, of course.
Speaking of scooters,
so a myth is a thing that people claim that isn't true. That isn't. It's something they believe is true, but isn't actually true, which is what separates it from a lie. A lie is something you say that you know isn't true.
Is a myth a story?
It's often stories.
Ah,
And generally speaking, it is used when nobody believes it's true. So the Greek myths, the Roman myths, those were the doctrines and stories of their religions. Nobody still follows those religions,
Right.
so now they're just myths.
could they have like good lessons?
Yeah.
So like if Christianity were to die, the gospel stories would just be the Christian myths.
that sounds promising.
Yeah, I mean, I stand behind that. I bet
In
that sounds-
1,000 years, that could be the case.
I mean, I would say now, but yeah, 1,000 years.
No,
okay.
now it'll get you put
Maybe
on
there's a-
suicide watch. High
Maybe there's a
school.
market for that.
So a tradition is something that people have believed for a long time, or a practice that people have done for a long time. And in terms of religion, a religious tradition is just, it can be
Christmas.
a large set of things they have done, or it can just be specific things that they do. Then there is dogma. Dogma is
it a movie?
specifically
A good one.
It is.
specifically
Directed by
it is
Kevin
a
Smith.
Catholic concept.
Isn't Alanis Morissette?
Yeah, she is.
Isn't she God?
She is.
Yeah.
What if God was one of us?
Gosh, Dustin is just like,
Oh,
no.
man, and the best like Ben Affleck Matt Damon pair up ever.
we got to put some humor into this.
Oh, yeah,
Dustin.
yeah.
Let's do this.
Dogma is specifically a Catholic concept that means it's stuff the church says is true.
But knows that the church knows that it's not true, or they believe it to be true.
It is.
It's not a lie from the Catholic's point of
Okay, so-
perspective.
So is it closer to a myth?
Protestants have doctrines which are generally considered to be what they view as their current understanding of what the Bible teaches. The Catholic Church does not have doctrine, it has dogma, which is a combining of doctrine and tradition into stuff that they say just is. And once something becomes dogma, you're not supposed to argue with it.
Oh. Or is it punishable by death? Oh, wait.
Excommunication.
Same thing.
Yeah, for some people.
If you were in 1500s Germany, it could be the same thing as death.
Stone you.
And by Germany, I mean the Holy Roman Empire, which was neither holy nor Roman nor an empire.
Idiots.
God. Judgy.
Are you calling 1,000 years of feudalism in Europe to have been the concept of idiots?
Sure. We'll go with that.
They were doing their best, Aaron.
Considering how inbred they were.
Think you would have done any better?
Probably not. Probably been like, yeah, I'll go with that. That sounds good. I don't want to die
say
today.
that Rome fell in a day. Or, no, wait. They said Rome didn't fall in a day, right? Well, maybe
Rome
you
wasn't
would make that
built
true.
in a
Wasn't
day.
built, yeah.
Whatever. Segue.
Rome was built in a day, and it took decades for it to fall, I think is how the saying goes.
All right, so hopefully these defining of these terms will be useful. Don't misuse them
On chats.
ignorantly.
Comments.
Misuse
Brought a
them,
notepad.
but feel free to misuse them in a way that weaponizes them.
Oh, so we do want to weaponize them.
Of course.
Because we believe that Christianity is a myth.
Uh-huh.
Let's.
So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about news.
I love the news.
While visiting the area in Alabama that was recently hit with tornadoes, Donald Trump stopped in at a Baptist church. Makes sense because his base at this point is just evangelicals.
Is the Alabama Baptists.
Yeah.
There's about
And
4 of them, and
people-
they're his base. They're all that's left.
People there gave him things to autograph, anything they could find, hats, scraps of paper, and a Bible.
He was like, heck yeah. God anointed me president, so now I shall sign this book.
He's like, who do I make out the dedication to?
I am Jesus. Oh, sorry. I am Donald Trump.
Signed Jesus. Oh, oops.
Some of the responses I've seen to this have been hilarious. Like,
The responses have been far funnier than the actual story.
oh yeah, yeah.
The story's
us.
like, meh, of course. Somebody's just going to have it on hand.
Right.
He probably can't. He probably just didn't read the cover. It just was signing,
what is this?
signing things.
Read the cover.
Yeah, you're right. Not a matter of will.
Right. Well, we know that he doesn't read the Bible because he never made it to Bible study, although he wants to pretend like he did.
Or Vietnam.
And he doesn't even. And he doesn't even
go
know.
to Bible study this week. I have bone spurs.
I can't go to Vietnam. I've got Bible study. You guys.
Some of the responses were that Trump is must think that he wrote the Bible,
I'm sure
or
he
that
does.
he's God, or that he doesn't even know what book it was that he was signing,
Yeah.
I mean,
which is probably the case.
right.
Or even that, he's just signing it to take credit for what it predicts about him in Revelation.
Oh, did they say that Revelations?
Somebody was jokingly saying that he's the beast of Revelation.
Oh, no, I like that one.
I think everybody gives him much more credit than he deserves. I don't think he thinks about anything. So I think he just,
Yeah.
He just did it because somebody
wasn't-
handed him something to sign.
Right.
yeah, he
That's
was.
all he knows is how to sign
Who
things.
was the person that handed him the Bible? That's what
Some
I want to
kid,
know.
wasn't it?
Some church member that was there who
A kid?
It was like, oh,
handed him
no,
the Bible and said, please sign this.
Yeah.
And he signed it.
this Bible's going to be worth something someday.
Yeah. He'll be the first to be thrown into the fire.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
I know.
Hey, there are people who still like Nixon, but then again, Nixon was at least competent.
If not sweaty.
No, they only like him because he's such a great character on Futurama.
Okay. Yes, he was sweaty in the debate against
Sweaty.
Nixon, the first ever televised debate.
Yeah, with Kennedy.
Or with Kennedy, yeah. But he also he had influenza.
Well, that was just
He
silly.
had a fever.
Are you trying to stick up for Richard Nixon right now?
Sounds like you're defending
I
Nixon,
know,
saying
gosh.
he's competent.
I
It's
mean,
not
I
his
guess
fault
we
that he's a
found out.
sweaty liar.
Was he corrupt because he had a cold?
I don't know.
No, he was corrupt because he was a paranoid sociopath.
Are you sure that he wasn't just sweating because he was a paranoid sociopath? And he was like, oh no, I'm on TV and I'm about to say a bunch of lies to people. And it's going to be televised. No, let's just say it's influenza.
My favorite sweat is the upper lip sweat.
I love the one trickle down the side.
Yes.
Mine is flop sweat down your ass crack, but whatever.
My least favorite
I'd like to
is
get
boob
I'd like to
sweat.
get a shot of that at some point.
Like the
just the
Single.
a trickle down into the ass crack.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a song
I got a
about
tramp
that.
stamp, so
Is
that
there?
would be
Dude,
fun and
yeah,
pretty.
it's actually a pretty catchy song about, let's see here. Something about being a holy roller. I don't know. I'll think of it.
Okay.
Well, that fits really well with our discussion.
Yeah, for sure.
Earlier.
Boob sweat. Okay, I digress.
Okay, so
No, wait. He's claiming to have a spaceship. I think it was Puddle of Mud.
Okay,
This is like
so
great.
I've tried ordering
Segway.
the stories into a mix of
Serious.
funny, serious,
Are we getting-
happy, good news, bad news.
yeah.
So this one,
Put on your serious face,
Okay, so
people.
now we're gonna put on our serious face. Okay.
a bill was proposed in the Idaho state legislature that would have finally established a minimum age to get married. Under the bill, children 16 or 17 years of age would have allowed to get married with the consent of parents and a judge. The bill failed by a margin of 29 to 38, citing concerns about the government getting involved in marriage, it looking too much like the state's statutory rape law. And this is the same legislature that was so upset about same-sex couples getting married, but they're just fine with 12-year-old girls marrying 40-year-old men.
But not 12-year-olds because the youngest person married in this state was 13.
Okay, they're fine with 13-year-old
Just
girls.
saying.
So,
I mean,
okay.
we got to get our facts straight here.
But there is nothing in the law that would prevent a 2-year-old from getting married.
Yeah, it's bullshit, especially with all the other things. I don't understand their hatred against women and children. Honestly, I mean, I should understand it, right? Like, I should understand that.
I think some of them might even think it's like they're protecting their rights. Like a 16-year-old should have the right to get married if they want.
No, we're talking about
13-year-olds should get that. Even though that's like, I'm surprised that didn't pass solely based on the anti-Sharia law crap that people have been spewing for the past couple of years.
Well, specifically what I think it comes down to is the conservative Christian fear of their daughters becoming single moms and that bringing shame upon the family. And if they can get a shotgun wedding in there, that takes care of it.
Otherwise, the kid will have to have an abortion, and it can't be doing that.
Right. So by allowing a 13, 14, 15-year-old to get married because she's pregnant, that takes care of it.
That doesn't take care of it, though.
No.
I just find it. Oh gosh. Anyway, whatever.
Segue.
I don't know what to say.
I
mean,
know. Sometimes we just get baffled. I mean, there's other things that also, like Medicaid expansion and work requirements.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I just
Lots of
find it
upsetting
interesting.
things,
I just find it interesting that like it's the pick and choose of what government can
Can or cannot do.
can't. Right. Exactly.
Like, they don't want the government to get involved with marriage, but they didn't have any issue with a state constitutional amendment that prohibited same-sex marriage.
Right.
That was the state getting involved in marriage.
Right.
And plus, marriage is controlled by the state.
Yeah.
So that is exactly what the state is there for.
The state is involved in marriage.
I thought we were all about states' laws here, right? Like
As
we
long as
don't
it
like
doesn't
federal laws.
interfere with your church.
Yeah. Oh, silly me.
Now, it is also possible
Or your
some of
marriage.
them are looking at it as, well, now that they have to allow this, now that the state has to grant marriages to same-sex couples, that they just want to get the state government completely out of it and just leave it up to churches.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Fine,
not the
have a
Methodist
church wedding, but until you get a state judge, it's not going to do you any good.
Right.
Yeah. So, sticking with local, a trans woman housed with the Idaho Department of Corrections has been allowed to continue her hormone therapy despite being housed in the men's prison. And a federal judge has now ruled in her favor that the state must allow her to get gender confirmation surgery.
Because she can't get moved over to the women's facility until she does.
Well, because she's going to kill herself if she doesn't get it.
Okay, well, that too. She's already tried.
So
having serious problems.
she's already attempted to do the surgery herself with a razor blade.
Oh, wow.
twice.
Oh.
Failed both times. I'm guessing she passed out both times.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so the state's argument against this was that they don't fund surgeries like this in any of the state-provided health plans.
Mm-hmm.
So why should... And she's a prisoner, so they have to pay for it.
Oh,
And they don't want to be paying for this.
right.
And the judge's response was, it's their job to keep her alive. And if they don't do the surgery, she will die in their care.
Mm. Right.
They are appealing,
Of course.
but also have a deadline of June. And there's not a chance that the Ninth Circuit's going to get to this year, let alone by June.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
After she has the surgery, will she be moved to the women's
She'd
unit?
have to be moved to the facility.
Probably not.
No?
Because if she's got the surgery and she stays in the men's facility, she's not going to survive anyway.
That's already the case now. She's already doing the hormones, so she's probably developed boobs. She was presenting as a woman before going into prison. She's already at severe risk of
Rape, murder.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That risk is just going to go up after surgery,
Right.
but that risk is still,
But it won't be self-induced. Huh.
yeah.
All right. Moving on to the next story.
All right, so...
was that one of the fun ones?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, that was a serious one.
Yeah,
Okay.
You had a legitimate reaction to that story.
Yeah.
A same-sex couple in Kansas attempted to enroll their child at their local Catholic school for kindergarten.
Mm.
The school wasn't comfortable with this and referred it up to the bishop, and they decided the parents couldn't model the church's morals, so the child's application was rejected.
No.
This is also not a funny one.
It kind of is when you think about why would a same-sex couple try and get their kid into a Catholic kindergarten?
Maybe because it's the best school
But
in the area.
Is it really?
Why would
I don't
anybody
know.
want to get their kid into
You know,
a
like-
Catholic kindergarten?
Right.
it's kindergarten
Where
for
was
one.
this at?
This was in Prairie Village, Kansas.
Oh, okay. Never
Do they
mind.
fund kindergarten in Kansas?
Probably.
If they don't, then maybe it's one of the only,
Right.
That's not even something I thought about.
affordable kindergartens.
Googling it.
I mean, honestly, I know you're saying, but maybe it's a good program. Maybe they have high. I don't know. They come out.
Jesus loving retention rates.
I don't know. Like, there's a bunch of people who don't believe in a religion, but they're like, hey, this is the best school in this area, and we're gonna go and put our kid into this religious school.
That's true. That's what Bishop Kelly here is that the
It's there is and personally, I think it's a myth that parochial private schools are superior to public education.
Mm-hmm.
They tend to be smaller than public schools, unless you're in a large city. So like Bishop Kelly is a large enough school that it probably has a lot of the same programs that Boise High has. If you're in a smaller town, it's not going to have those programs because you can't afford to have everything for 100 students that you'd be able to afford with 4,000.
Right. Also, we're discounting the fact that they might be religious.
No.
They might be Catholic.
But if they are, they aren't allowed. They wouldn't be allowed to take part in communion. They would be denied the
Maybe they're like
everything Catholic.
all the other Catholics that only go twice a year, and
right.
But they wouldn't even be allowed those
Budget.
2 times.
Who's going to say no? Who's
The
going to
priest?
stop? Well, how did they know? Maybe I'm with my friend here. I'm going to take this. I don't know.
How many Hail Marys do you have to say when you're gay to repent? I wonder.
You have to stop.
depends on how often you have sex, I think,
Really?
or at least orgasm.
You're like, I had,
And if a lesbian
I've had gay
couple, that
sex.
is going to be more often than anybody else.
yeah.
It's a lot.
It's like if
So
they're
many
trying to keep up,
orgasms.
are they going to their confession? Are they?
Right. So
And we're assuming that it's a lesbian couple. The article doesn't specify if the parents are.
I actually thought it was male couple, but maybe it's a female. You know what? Assumption's bad. It's just a gay couple.
But it's private schools have the benefit of being able to pick their students. And when you can pick your students, your test scores are always going to be higher because you're not going to be accepting the bottom half. You're going to only be accepting the top half of kids intelligence-wise. Part of that is
you don't have to fund special education. You don't have to fund, any of the support stuff that public education has to.
Right.
So everybody, and so you put your kids into a school because it's the best school in the area, only because they get to pick and choose.
When realistically, because they're picking who their students are, every class is an honors class. But if your kid's smart enough and in public school, your kid could still be in honors class for everything. There still is that chance for those to get into those better programs, even in public schools. But a lot of this concept of private schools being so much better also just, it's based on tradition of East Coast and European private schools that are often secular. Like the Ivy League schools have prep schools that are private schools that are the best high schools in the country.
Yep.
That's because they're run by fucking Harvard and Yale.
Yeah.
That's a lot different than a school that's run by the local Catholic diocese or Adventist church.
Plus, they're probably fucking your kids.
She went there.
Yep.
She's not wrong. Do we have one of those stories this week?
We don't.
I
had to slide that in there for you, Aaron.
Thank you.
I am intentionally passing those stories on those stories because we've talked about them way too much.
Oh gosh, so much.
Oh, good. I'm glad we've covered that.
Yeah.
It's like every week.
Every time Aaron's on, which is now every week.
Well, guys,
it was funny when
fucking again.
It was funny when we were only seeing you once every 3 or 4 weeks, but now it's just sad.
So Portland has become the second jurisdiction in the United States to explicitly include atheists, agnostics, and other non-religious people in their non-discrimination ordinance.
Nice. Good job, Portland.
We're applauding. Applause. I don't have both hands free right now, but what is the sound of one hand clapping?
Ew, that sounds like something else. All right, moving on.
Aaron. Ruined it.
Did you know that a high five is just sharing a clap with somebody you like?
Aww. Maybe I should put that into a terrible motivation.
Oh man, what does it mean when you leave it hanging then?
Now that sounds like something else.
You guys got to work on your rhythm though, man.
We do.
Well, we've got plenty of time.
In general.
All right, so this seems like a nice big win. It was Madison, Wisconsin was the first city to do this. They are home of the Freedom from Religion Foundation.
And both my exes, what?
Oh. So it makes
And by the way, nobody ever talks about
Aaron,
Wisconsin.
You realize it.
I know.
You realize it when you hear it. You're like, oh yeah, Wisconsin, that place.
Yeah.
Wow,
and then you're
Wisconsin.
like, oh, both my exes live in Madison, Wisconsin. Okay.
Jeez.
Madison, Wisconsin's also generally considered to be one of the most gay-friendly cities in the country.
Jeez.
So's Portland.
Jeez.
Like Portland has like entire lesbian neighborhoods, or getting pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Portland's not surprising, but
No.
Madison?
Yeah.
Cheese.
Cheese. I mean, that's the only reason why I go to Wisconsin. Not Madison, but Wisconsin.
What about your exes?
Oh, I would never step foot in Madison because of my exes.
Is that... Are
the
your ex's name
Munster
Cheese?
is amazing.
We just call them Cheese.
No, because I love cheese and I hate them.
Do you hate all your exes?
No,
Oh, okay.
just those two.
Just the Wisconsinites.
Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't say I hate one of them. I wouldn't say I hate the other one, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah. So Portland, as of a Pew survey in 2015, Portland had 42% of the population that identified as unaffiliated.
That's not surprising.
Which, okay, it kind of makes sense that when the Portland chapter of the Freedom from Religion Foundation reached out to...
Sorry, I'm distracted by the Futurama Nixon head.
I know. I keep looking at it.
I just keep hearing
I'll
his
sell your
voice in my
children's
head.
organs to zoos for meat.
When they... So it would make sense that they'd be like, okay, yeah, we should... This is almost half of the city. They should probably be protected too.
Yep.
Because it is generally assumed that rules against discriminating based on religion would also protect against people who have no religion.
Mm.
It doesn't necessarily.
I mean, we met a woman at a shindig a couple weeks ago who lives in a Christian community. She's not a Christian, but if they ever found out, they could kick her out.
Oh, wow.
There's no protections for her.
Right.
And then, of course, you wonder, why would somebody do that to themselves? Like, well, housing's a bitch, and you got to live where you can.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, put your kids in kindergarten where you can. I'm just saying. That's
Just saying.
Well, if you look at it like that.
Maybe they lived in the area.
Exactly.
So it's one of those, and I think one of the big benefits of them getting this on the books is, while it's generally assumed that discriminating against somebody because that person's an atheist violates non-discrimination on the grounds of religion,
Right.
that could all go away if Trump gets one more person on the Supreme Court.
Threw up a little bit in my
I
mouth.
know, me too.
Yeah, this wasn't a good thing.
So they're protecting against that. And
Yay.
more cities and states need to do that.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, get on that beater.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure our Boise mayor listens to this podcast.
Also, I hear he's been called, and from that. Anyway, someone has called him out a lot for sending that letter of recommendation or whatever for that priest.
Mm.
Oh, for supporting the priest?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, can't win them all. But
Yeah.
overall, he's probably a pretty decent guy.
See, I brought it back.
Well, and
Brought it back around.
okay, as a general rule in Idaho politics,
Support all
Catholics-
Catholic priests. What?
no, Catholic politicians here tend to be some of the less bad ones compared to the Mormon and Pentecostal ones.
Yeah, I guess so.
And if you get to
Do you have any
choose
data
between
to
Mormon,
quantify that?
Pentecostal, and Catholic,
Isn't
Okay,
Otter Catholic?
yeah,
Is he?
Yeah.
he wasn't.
I don't know. He wasn't a softcore
He wasn't horrible.
porn. What?
Otter was bad, but not terrible.
Okay, well, it depends on where you put the line.
And
doesn't
if you
it?
compare that to like pro-life,
Ugh, he's not even. Yeah.
That's just not.
everybody
All right,
who's run against him in the Republican primary has been far, far, far worse.
Yeah, let's just not go down this path.
Okay, so
we're getting
segue.
The U.S. Supreme Court rejected an appeal of a New Jersey Supreme Court ruling that the state historic building preservation funds can't be used for the maintenance of churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, or other religious buildings.
Okay, so any historic religious buildings, the funds can't be used for those.
I think specifically if it is being used as a church, synagogue, temple, or mosque, or other religious building, because the lawsuit was filed initially by a coalition of religious organizations who wanted the state to pay for the funding of their old dilapidated buildings.
Okay, I see. So if they were using it for something else, that would be a different story. Like
If it was a museum,
Right.
or a historical park with here's what churches looked like in 1758.
Or a
Right, that was
McMenamins.
immediately. I was like,
a McMenamins.
right, yes, McMenamins.
McMenamins, Rembrandt's, and Eagle.
Yeah.
They took an old church and turned it into a coffee house.
At first, I thought you said McDonald's. I was like, what?
No, but if it was turned into a bar or a coffee house, I don't think there wouldn't be any issue with preserving a building that used to be a church.
Right.
Yeah, I got all jumped up about that. I'm like, well, from a historical society point of view, preservation is very important.
It is.
He's like, well, they're not if they're currently using it as a church. I'm like, oh yeah, then the members definitely need to pony up.
Yeah.
Right. Isn't that the whole point of like paying stuff to a
Shit,
church?
right?
And church-state
Tithes and
separation.
crap.
Right. Well, yes, that's the big one, of course, but I feel like members are supposed, that's like your tithing or something. I don't know.
I would just feel really bad if, because the members weren't supporting it, St. Michael's downtown Boise started to fall into disrepair because it's such a beautiful building. It's historically valuable.
There is a church in Hyde Park area that I think the preservation, because it's not a church anymore, but the preservation committee has decided somehow to.
At the point that your church has fallen out of disrepair, you either need to disband your congregation and merge with another one, or raise the funds to build a new fucking building, or just do some maintenance.
Yeah. Get some Sister Act 2 Whoopi Goldberg going on.
There you go.
Ooh, it could be a fun movie montage.
There we go. 80s style montage.
One thing that is kind of funny is in England, there are atheists who are fine with the Church of England being funded by the state because most of their historic buildings are churches, and that allows for those buildings to be maintained. That's not necessarily the case here in the U.S.
Yeah.
No, not really at all. Well, maybe East Coast.
Yeah, New England.
A little bit.
Yeah.
New England, there's actually a decent amount of that.
I don't know. You're from New England. What do you say?
You're from New England?
I lived there for like 5 years.
Do you pronounce your R's?
No. I don't even say ours when I.
Awesome.
No, that's like a Boston thing. You mean like ka, ba.
Right.
Yeah, you're just.
No, I know. I was making Jesus. It was a joke.
Was it though?
Kind of.
Okay.
What part of New England? What?
Church. So
What?
I said my R.
Oh.
Church.
What kind of
Church.
Where are you from, New England? Church.
Church. New England Church, Wisconsin. Burlington, Vermont. I lived in there. And I mean, I kind of got used to it when I was living there, and then now being back on the West Coast, I definitely notice the difference. The buildings are super old and beautiful, the way that they lay the bricks, and you can just see the progression of our history through the
And here it's just like whatever.
Here. Yeah,
here we
it's
have
like
a mural that shows
up.
an Indian lynching, and we have to argue about whether or not that's appropriate.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially considering the fact it's not even historical.
Yeah. Here's a sign of a field that had a massacre in it. That's our our things.
Yeah.
Now, fun fact:
Massacre Rock State Park.
The mural in downtown Boise, it's a state-owned building that's being used by Ada County, I think.
Oh,
or vice versa.
Which mural are we talking about?
Yeah,
the lynching of the Native American supposedly took place in the 1800s. It was a Californian who designed and painted it.
Yeah, they basically
based
asked
on
this artist.
no story that ever happened in Idaho.
This looks like something that should happen in Idaho.
So where is this though?
It's in the Sears, not the Capitol building. It's the building next to the Capitol building. It's the old administration
Is
building.
It like health and welfare now? That big gray one?
Not health and I think so.
Well, the one next to it is now the law school for U of I.
That's it.
With the law library.
That's it.
Okay.
That's the one.
And they've got it covered up.
now.
Oh, okay.
But this historical, beautiful mural with this weird lynching thing in the corner.
Parks and Rec.
That's where it comes from. The Parks and Rec mural is the one in Boise.
No way.
Yes. That's what they based that off of.
What? Oh, wow.
Womp womp.
We're dumb.
Actually, they may not have actually based it off of it, but the coincidence is a little startling.
What I read was that it was specifically based on the one in Boise.
Well, let me get Amy.
They thought it was ridiculous enough to actually have.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh. Nope.
The Canadian government was recently found to have been funding homeopathy, specifically a charity that is modeled after Doctors with Borders, that has been sending homeopaths to Honduras.
I love this one.
Doctors with Borders?
This was my favorite.
Doctors with
I was like, what's the difference between Doctors with Borders and Doctors without Borders?
Doctors without Borders.
Doctor with a border.
They check your documents to see.
Okay, so they take the border and they dilute it one drop into
a vat,
and then dilute that with another drop into a vat, and then eventually you have Doctors without Borders. No.
I have never seen Dustin or heard Dustin laugh so hard in the last 4 years that I've known him. It's the hardest I've heard him laughing.
He just thinks the concept of doctors with borders is hilarious.
I'm broken.
Oh, this is great.
Don't wake up the baby.
Oh, man.
Okay, let's hold it in. Take it to doctors with border. I'm sorry,
man.
my border is only from here to here. If you're sick in it, I can help you.
Velvet rope.
Okay, I haven't laughed to the point that my ribs hurt and I'm lightheaded since I was a kid.
So out of shape.
I need to laugh more.
Yeah,
you do.
for sure.
Anyway,
It's the best medicine, they say.
So they found that
social media outrage over this.
Yeah, so the outrage happened. Over $200,000 Canadian, spread out over 5 years. That works out to about 150,000 American. So we're talking a really small amount of money.
Yeah.
But this did actually help several homeopaths go to Honduras to teach doctors and other people there how to do homeopathic treatments. And they help try to treat Chagas disease, which is life-threatening with homeopathy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
They're like, here, this is peppermint oil. This is a diffuser. Put some turmeric in it.
I hope they sent massage therapists. I do. Well, I wonder how convoluted this story is, because I wonder if they were sending them as the sole support, like only homeopathic, or if that was like supplemental to some other aid that they were sending.
So that particular organization was just sending homeopaths. That was its specific purpose, was to send homeopaths to Honduras.
Yeah.
But the Canadian government's program was just this large aid program to developing countries to send help. This was just one program. They got some of that funding. They got a small amount, and the outrage was amazing and enough for the Canadian government to pull that funding.
I'm outraged about the outrage, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, what did they take that funding and then just put it into?
Probably
more.
Probably putting another $200,000 towards sending actual doctors and nurses.
Maybe. Did they? I mean,
well, we don't. This is only a few days old.
Right. We don't know.
They haven't reallocated the funds, but those are funds that have to be reallocated.
If you promise people medical aid and you send them homeopaths, it's kind of a big old fuck you to those people.
Yeah.
Whether they know it or not.
Here's this quote doctor from Canada who's going to cure all your ails with magic water. If they wanted that, they could just go to the local priest and get an exorcism. New Zealand has had a blasphemous libel law that they inherited from the British Empire that prohibited publishing anything that condemned Christ or Christianity. This hasn't been enforced since 1922 and has, as of last week, been repealed, being called archaic.
Yay!
Which means this podcast is now legal in New Zealand.
Yay!
Oh, cool.
Now that we no longer have any listeners there.
Boo! What?
Wait, what?
You had...
We used
that's
to.
right. We used to
Kiwi
have some listeners there.
At one point, like 4 or 5 years ago, per capita, we were the most popular in New Zealand.
Huh.
And those 15 listeners are
They were, well, maybe
not
they got in
listening
trouble. And they were like, shit, we got found out. We can't listen to it anymore.
Or they were in Christchurch and got earthquaked.
Or we can go down that dark path. Earthquake.
I just made myself sad.
Yeah.
I want to go to New Zealand.
I love listening to these things, like, Canada, how they took that whole pretending that you're a witch off the that law shouldn't be there anymore. Pretending to be a witch, not being a witch.
Oh,
being a fraud,
pretending that you're a witch.
Fraudster witch.
fraudulent
so Canada
witchcraft.
believes in witchcraft, obviously. Yeah. In witchery.
Witchery
and earthquakery. That's
And
a thing.
Homeopathy.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, so
Well, share
Good
it
job,
with
New
New
Zealand.
Zealand people.
Also, if you want to fund us coming to your country to do a live show, we are accepting applications. New Zealand, you're top bill. So, yeah. Just let us know.
I bet Canada would do
Send us $20,000 and we'll do it.
To get 3 people, I don't think that's enough. Do you think that's enough?
$20,000
to get 3 people?
To Canada?
Oh, to Canada, yeah. But
no,
not to
to
New Zealand.
Oh, New Zealand?
I don't think that's enough to get to New Zealand.
That's like $1,600 a plane ticket. And it's 4 people because by the time we get around to that, Kylie would need a seat.
Hey, I mean, I feel like anybody who wants to do a GoFundMe to get us to their state or country
saying
to do a live podcast.
The How to Dad guy did it, so I want to.
Oh, okay. No,
he gets people send him stuff all the time.
Far more likely would be our listeners in the DC metro area, where, interestingly enough, we are the most popular.
Whoop whoop!
Between Virginia and Maryland, because the stats don't get more specific than that, we have the single largest geographical region that our listeners come from.
Yeah.
Specifically Virginia. So
we're all like, we're going to do the podcast that's more focused on the Intermountain West.
But they love it.
And they're like, all right.
They're like, please tell us about your mountains and your backwards ways. This is funny, you yokels.
We want to feel better about ourselves.
You hillbillies.
On a side note, I'm also making a note for posterity that Dustin promised to take me to Washington, D.C. next year for Cherry Blossom Festival.
She put it on Facebook to make it official.
Facebook official. You guys call him out on it next year. Will you just give the baby the beer can and just... There we go.
Oh, there we go. All right.
I think we have enough listeners there to actually be able to fund a live show there.
We would actually. That would be awesome.
So if you have any hookups with a venue in the DC metro area, please contact us.
Whoop, whoop.
Ideally, we'd be looking for when the cherry blossoms are blooming next
Mid-April.
spring. So we got a year for this.
Yeah.
The government is open, so people are getting paid. That's good.
So please support us.
So let us know if
just
check your rent.
Just check and see which card you have on file.
Oh man. We know that, you probably didn't get that much back pay, but like once everything has cleared out and you feel like you could support us some more, that would be great.
Good pandering. Good job.
All right.
Well, shoot for the sky.
That's it for news. Our feedback this week was all about the interview last week with Mandisa Thomas,
which was awesome.
So from @RandyLamonda via Twitter, @Mandy0904 @AtheistNomads, would love to hear Mandisa speak only about Black nationalism, history, civil rights, and how we've come full circle. Here's to #ReasonRally2012 in the rain.
Aww.
No, that actually would be pretty fascinating to hear all about that. Yeah.
I was not at Reason Rally 2015 /
12.
I know, I was going to say 2012 in the rain. All right.
When Bad Religion was the closing act for it.
Oh, nice.
And the stage was so wet. Like, they should not have continued. The risk of electrocution was becoming present.
We're going to do this.
And they did it anyway. And there were about 5,000 of us that stuck around for that. It was amazing.
Where was this at?
DC.
Oh, in DC.
On the National Mall. And then Nick via email. As far as Black Atheists go, you should check out Graydon Square on YouTube. His songs, Black Atheist as an artist, and Action in particular. Cool. Thanks for those tips.
Yeah.
Cool.
I am familiar with him. Yeah, pretty cool. And we don't have any new supporters, but if you want to support us, go to atheistnomads.com/donate to find out how. It does mean a lot.
Like us on Facebook and Twitter. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
Get pictures of babies playing with beer cans.
Yeah, I think it wasn't a beer can, but I don't know if I got a picture of with a can. We could do that right now.
You can take a picture of it right now.
Like I could do it right
There's two.
now. What else? Oh, we did get something for the 300th episode, which was great. We've got some questions. We would love some more questions, please. Because it's going to be 5 hours.
Yep.
We need more things to talk about. And please don't make me talk about dead babies for a whole hour. That would be awful.
Or for 5 hours.
Yeah, or for 5 hours. As my voice quivers.
That's okay. We'll just ask Dustin to talk about himself, and you and I can go out for lunch.
Cool. I was thinking we'd have a potluck, but that's cool. Yeah.
No, we're gonna have pizza.
Yeah.
The podcast is gonna buy pizza.
Yeah, for sure. I like that.
Business expense.
Tax
deductible.
Tax deductible.
Yeah. Beth, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, we forgot to ask Beth where people can find her.
Oh yeah.
I live at
where people can stalk you.
Comedy show.
BethNorton.com.
Oh, there you go.
BethNorton.com.
All right.
Yeah, the internet.
Nice.
That's a thing. It's a resource.
Nice.
I do. I list my shows on my website. So.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Aaron and Lauren, you guys rocked as usual.
Thank you. Beth, good job on your first podcast.
Thank you. Wow.
You did amazing.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Put that down on your resume.
It was wonderful.
It's an emotional roller coaster of
Holding babies
hey, that's
and
cool,
dealing with news.
and that's really disappointing in the world.
Yeah, got me reading the news.
Yeah. And now we get to go on to our extra bonus episode.
Right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. We're going to end this.
Aaron out the dirty laundry.
What's
this
the
might be a good time to make fun of Aaron. Because it didn't happen before.
Listeners, remember, not all those who wander are lost. Thank you for listening to another episode of Atheist Nomads. You can find show notes and contact information at atheistnomads.com. Follow us on Twitter at Atheist Nomads, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Atheist Nomads. Please subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcatcher of choice, and while you're there, feel free to leave us a review. Theme music is courtesy of Sturdy Fred. Until next time, this has been the Atheist Nomads.